You know that feeling when you're up at night, just thinking about how the world is just going to absolute shit? We're literally on the brink of another world war, but like everyone seems to be pretty chill with it. It's literally just become one big meme. But this can't possibly be the worst era in human history, right? Actually, wait. This is a thing, so it might be. But then again, there is literally a period in human history called the Dark Ages. And my guess is that they weren't called the Dark Ages due to a lack of sunshine. Or it might be, I don't know. I barely got by in 4th grade when we learned about this shit. So this got me thinking, how bad was life in the Middle Ages? You know, generally, the first thoughts that pop into someone's mind when it comes to the Middle Ages are like knights, the plague, castles, the plague, kings and queens, the plague, and like shows like The Last Kingdom, and leprosy. But hey, no AIDS, so that's something. So it only took me a few Google searches to figure out that life wouldn't be the exact definition of fun back then. So the first reason being that life itself was pretty freaking rough. But allow me to elaborate, sorry. The physical act of living was difficult back then. Everyone knows about the bubonic plague, or Black Death as it was called, and it was bad, right? But upon further investigation, you'll find out that shit was way worse than bad. Like, it was estimated to kill around 60% of Europe's population. That's freaking insane. It had a mortality rate of 80%. So chances are, if you found this on any point of your body, you're pretty much freaking dead. And if that didn't scare you, this is how the doctors that treated the plague looked like. That is absolutely mortifying. And don't get me wrong, these guys were no experts in the field of medicine. Back then, the art of medicine involved a lot of guesswork and trial and error, and usually ended up in error. You could go to the doctor with a headache, and he'd whip out a giant dildo telling you to participate in this new clinical research for headaches. So as a result, the average lifespan was only about 31 years. So say you do live to your old age in your 30s, it really wouldn't be anything to celebrate about. Well, I guess not getting leprosy is something to celebrate about. But the chances were, if you weren't of high status, you may as well die of some sort of disease, because life would not be fun. Personally, I think the scariest part of the Dark Ages were the countless torture methods. Some dickheads really didn't have anything better to do other than think of ways of inflicting the maximum amount of pain on another person. The only thing more abundant than diseases were methods of torture. Now that says something. To briefly just go over a few. This one was meant to go into the person's you-know-where, and the rest is pretty self-explanatory. Then there's this one, the classic rat one, where the rat eats its way out of the person. This one, this one does not seem like fun. And then this one, which looks like it required quite a lot of work from the person who's torturing the person. Hopefully you guys get the point, because I'm getting lightheaded just talking about this shit. And if that isn't bad enough, there was also something called the Great Famine, which took place during that time. And I assume the word great isn't implied in a positive context. That shit killed millions of people, and there are even stories of people turning to cannibalism. So on top of all of that shit, you'd had to deal with things like war and battles and sieges and raids. These were not fun times. So yeah, guys, I guess looking back now, we don't have it as bad today. So next time you think about using the "I'm here for a good time, not a long time" line, think twice, because people back then experienced neither.